came into the space chasing all of the gains, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, you bad before you're good. Was taught to buy when it was boring like a rainmaker should. I buy when it's down, don't chase the boats that I miss. Cause I always make the time in mind. I sit the one out cause I'm patient like that. And I'll wait for the right time. I'll sell when it's high, I buy when it's low. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm just a rainmaker running the show. Calculated investments, I don't lead with my heart. The principles are simple, they're leaving a mark. Buy when it's boring, just gotta be smart. I sell when it's hype, like all the channels they pump it. That's when I was selling, go parabolic and dump it. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. The time is never better, the time like the present. This next 5 years is a gift and it's feeling like heaven. I'm committed to learn, to study and to know that nothing comes easy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm so excited to be with you on this Wednesday, and you are surviving this little pullback that we're having that doesn't feel so little. When you look back on it, it will feel like the pullback didn't last that long, but when you're in the middle of it, for whatever reason, time goes so slow in crypto, doesn't it? Like if you've been in crypto for 2 months, it literally feels like you've been in crypto for 2 years. And I don't know why it does that. But generally, the market is going down and sideways. I'm going to share my thoughts on that with you today. We also have some really interesting news to cover today, as well as I want to share with you more about what helps me stay patient and tenacious as the market goes down. I also want to get to your thoughts and comments as well. So D-Money is still at home. Most of his family has COVID. They're doing great, actually. And his wife has it. She did have the shot. So it's not affecting her too bad. Her recovery is good. So far, D-Money hasn't got it, at least that we're aware of it. Of course, he works out like every morning. So he's in fantastic shape. And he's doing really well. Let's go ahead and get this party started. Join me, Rainmakers. Definitely help us out by hitting that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, this is the place to be. Now, you'll get a different look and a different take from me. I'm a contrarian investor. I'm a swing trader that holds for periods of time, and I like to buy when prices are low and sell when they're high. But literally, I buy when prices are low, and I literally sell them when they're high. I know lots of people say that that's what they do, but they don't. And I give you my analysis on what I think about the market, what I'm seeing, what I'm liking. I do a lot of research. I tend to invest in projects that I think have a solid team. They're in a strong narrative that will do well, at least during a period of time, and I hold during that period of time, and I share with you how I think about this. Now, I'm new to crypto investing. I've only been doing this for 4 years. For those of you who have been doing this for like 4 days or 4 weeks or 4 months, that seems like a really long period of time. It is not all that long. I started about this time last bull market back in October, and I learned some very valuable lessons, and I share them with you. What I am good at is noticing patterns. And so I share with you the patterns that I'm seeing. Oh, let me make sure. Okay, making sure audio's coming through, as D-Money's not here in the studio, so it looks like everything's good there. Those patterns are really what's helped me become a really good investor over time. Now, prior to crypto, I had done real estate and other types of investing. And it's amazing how well understanding the patterns really works to make better than average gains. And what I like about crypto better than any other thing out there is that the cycles are much shorter. So from top to top is right about 4 years in crypto. Maybe that's elongating a little bit. So literally from the bottom to the top, it can be about 2.5 years. And so that's a really short cycle. And there are some amazing gains to be made as crypto literally takes over the world. Let me check out chat and see what we got going on. Tyson Larson says, always look forward to your insights. Thank you so much, Tyson. Stardust Runner says, let's get the party started. If you don't know, he's one of our researchers. He is extremely successful in his day job, invests in crypto on the side. Yeah, and we're grateful to have him in the community. His research is top notch. In fact, oftentimes his research is some of the stuff I look at and share with you. as well as he often digs through the news and finds the best articles. And some of what I'll be sharing with you today in the news all comes from Stardust Runner. So thank you for that. Are you going to be live during G. Powell's speech? You know, I'm not going to be doing it live and reacting to it. We'll see how that goes, right? So everyone's kind of looking at what the Fed in the U.S. is going to do. Are they going to taper interest rates up? What are they going to do? I don't know. That will affect the stock market. It'll probably affect the crypto market temporarily. Overall, we know inflation is high. Inflation is good for crypto in the medium to long term. In the short term, people panic sell, people dump. It probably won't help us in the next month or two what's going on with inflation, but because inflation is so high in general, people are seeking refuge in hard assets, and Bitcoin is a hard asset. ETH, a hard asset. Some of these other third generation blockchains are blockchains that are going to change the world, and because there's a limited supply, or the supply is exactly known and it's done by code and it can't get changed without the chain being hacked, then they're going to be a safe refuge over fiat currency, especially if inflation is not curbed somehow. And so whether the Fed is going to start tapering up interest rates to try to curb inflation, we'll see, because that does damage the economy, and politicians do not like damage to the economy. So politicians put pressure on, say, the U.S. politician put pressure on the U.S. Fed chairman to not raise interest rates, and I don't know how that's going to turn out. We will see. Responsibly, they should tighten the belt. They should let it do some damage to the economy. However, politicians, no matter which party is in office in whatever country, don't want that to happen under their watch. Now, let's get into what I think my thoughts are in general in the market. So, as you know, if you've been a subscriber for a long time, we've been talking about the two different theories that might happen. I specifically covered in depth again this elongated cycle theory about 2 to 2.5 weeks ago, because they were starting to see some evidence that this December wasn't going to be what we were hoping for. And truthfully, we don't have a magic crystal ball. We can't tell what the future is, but I tried to give you an idea of what the different ways things can play out are, because we can get an idea of the different ways that things will play out. And that way, if it plays out one way versus the other, it's okay. We understand what's going to go on, because a lot of times our problems in crypto is that we expect a certain thing to happen. When it doesn't, we get frustrated and we leave. Much like I shared that tweet from 2011 of that guy in Bitcoin that had bought Bitcoin, was really, really upset that Bitcoin's price had settled all the way down to $14, and he was done. He was selling at a loss and leaving Bitcoin for forever. Now, what if you could rewind time to 2011 and buy Bitcoin at like $14? In fact, if you overpaid for it and bought it at $100, would you take that trade? Because I'm pretty sure all of us would. But just lack of patience, right? And probably he expected it would go straight to the moon, and when it didn't, he got frustrated and he left. Which all of you who have been around for a few months and you wondered why anybody would leave the crypto space, now you're seeing why they do, because it's hard. Now imagine 18 months straight of this type of stuff. That's what a crypto winter is like, where you get some days that's up and then you get a lot more days that are down than up, and a lot of people just leave the space. When is the very best time to be here? Well, when prices are cheap, when you know in the future they're going to get higher. So it's a great time to be here right now, because I still think we have another massive leg of the bull run ahead of us. And here's my guess on how this plays out. And realize this is just my guess. Factor in all the information I have available to me today. Now, new information can interrupt this cycle. I did make a prediction that DeFi was going to be the next narrative in early October. And guess what? Mark Zuckerberg came out and talked about metaverses and Facebook, and it totally derailed my prediction, because I didn't have information on Mark Zuckerberg changing the name of Facebook to things. But I am not always right, but I am almost always right. And so here's my thought on how it plays out. December and mid-January, all the way till the end of January, still kind of rocky territory. And then we start a climb up that is massive, and probably peaking Bitcoin sometime around May at heights that might be as high as $180,000 to $400,000 per Bitcoin. And altcoins maybe continue to run into the summer of June, July. And that where prices are today, we will look back and we will say, oh my gosh, look how cheap they got in December. I think it's going to be a crazy good run. And so when these pullbacks happen, the last time there was a pullback that felt this savage is look back to July. Look at the charts on altcoins in July. Look back and see if you could buy things in July if you would. In fact, there's one particularly that came to mind, and I was thinking about what's going on with the market, and that was Netvrk Token. And I covered Netvrk when they first launched, before metaverses started going crazy and everything. And I was like, I think this is great. They had a really good demo that showed their editing software that was like amazing. And look where Netvrk Token went to. 16 cents. Now, it had been higher than that. By a little bit. It had been as high as 71 cents. Now, if you could rewind time and buy Netvrk Token at 17 cents, would you? Now, what's funny is it hit these peaks of like $7 because Mark Zuckerberg threw a wrench in all the cycles of all of a sudden they're changing the whole name of Facebook because they realize that the world is going this way and they want to try to beat some people to it. I don't know about you. I don't know that I trust Facebook to give them any additional information on what they already have for me. And I am looking for a different metaverse solution than what Facebook is going to offer. But some of you might want it. That's cool. For me, I'm looking for something else. But I remember going back into July that, man, it was on a really cheap price and, really good buy. But this is when all the buyers were elsewhere. Nobody was buying. People were panic selling. I remember I had some friends that had some Netvrk tokens and they panic sold them and they're like, this isn't going to survive. It's just like bad timing, wait for the timing to get better to sell. Now, I bought a bunch back in this timing. And when it hit $1.50 to $2, I traded into some things that were some lows. Now, with hindsight, that was terrible. It was trading in this pattern like this, and then all of a sudden, you see right here is when Facebook announced metaverses, and it went absolutely crazy. So it's come down from there. My guess is it comes down even cheaper, gets really attractive again, then it goes up. Because we did see this early pump caused by Facebook, but remember, narratives change direction in crypto. So it's been metaverse, but then it changes to something else and people forget about the metaverse tokens. And when they do and they get what I call boring, that's a great time to buy. So what are one of the things that I do? I tried to share this with you in the last live stream before I made a mistake on my recording software and got that screen canceled so you couldn't see it. So one of them is Zookeeper. And here's what I like about Zookeeper. See, there wasn't available to us during the early part of the crypto winter the ability to get passive income while waiting for price appreciation. There wasn't that at all. And then there ended up being a couple options like Tezos launched staking, which it was paying maybe 7% returns. But because they were one of the first to launch staking, where you could make money holding an asset that you hope that appreciated, their price went up like 10x. And I was like, well, I missed that boat. I'm not going to buy it at like 10x the price just because they have 7% staking rewards. But I did load up on Cardano because Cardano was going to have staking in the future and it didn't. And there wasn't really that available to us like 3 years ago. There's a lot of that available to us now. So what I like is assets that I believe in their price appreciation that I can buy, that I can make some passive income with it, and that increases my upside when things go crazy. So one of the ones I've been farming in since literally January of last year, or well, this year still, so almost, 11 months, is Zookeeper. And I can't remember the total initial amount I put into this. It was all in Wanchain. And what I did was I put half my Wanchain in here at first. I brought it in, I took it to WanSwap, and so this will interact with your MetaMask wallet. In fact, all you have to do is go to wanswap.finance, and it will ask you to allow the Wanchain network to add itself to WanSwap, to MetaMask directly. And so you can do that. And so what I did was I came to WanSwap, and I went to, let me go to the swap thing, and I took half my Wanchain, and I traded it into WASP. And then I added it as liquidity here. So add liquidity, and then I put WAN, and then I put the WASP token. and I added 50-50 liquidity, meaning half of the value in Wanchain, half of the value in Wasp. And then you can bring it over to Zookeeper, and then you can say top it up here by, now I can walk you through the process. In fact, let me do that. I'm going to go ahead and harvest here so that there's some things I can add as liquidity so you can get a feel for what this looks like in case you're interested in doing this at home. Now, I use Zookeeper every day because it makes me excited that I earn this passive income while I'm waiting for Wanchain to go through the roof. Personally, I feel like they will. They are a sponsor of this channel. I've been investing in them way before they were a sponsor of this channel. It's kind of like Nike coming to you when you're already wearing Nikes and asking if they can sponsor. You always say yes to that. So they've been a great sponsor. In fact, they give us 500 won per month to be able to give away to our viewers, which has been a lot of fun. And we'll be giving that away. I'll share with you later when we're giving that away. So I just harvested all my pools. The transactions are so cheap on this, so you really save a lot of money on that. Now I'm going to have to put it into, let's say I want to change it over to put it in won. So let's see, I want won on the other side of this transaction. I'm going to take all my zoo and put it in Wanchain. Okay, so I'm going to go max there, and I'm going to swap for Wanchain. So it's going to give me 190 Wanchain. Confirm the swap. Look how low these fees are. Let me make sure you can see it in my window. Yep. So it is, this would be 1 cent if that were a 1. So it's 3/100ths of 1 cent. So dirt cheap for these transactions. And we're going there. And then I'm going to show you how to add the liquidity. So I have some WASP and I have some WAN now. I'm going to go to pool and I'm going to add some liquidity. So I've got WAN here. I'm going to add some of these. And so I know that, so it's going to balance out 50% of your value in WAN and 50% in WASP. I have more value in Wanchain than I do in WASP, so I clicked on the max button to put all my WASP in there. I'm going to go ahead and supply it. Confirm supply. Transaction window pops up. And that's going to take a little bit, and when it's done, it's going to show that here because I'm going to be depositing into this pool that is the WASP WAN pool. I'm going to top up because I have already 71,512 in value in there. And there we go. So that's putting in the liquidity I just added, and I'm going to go ahead and validate that. All right. So I just added some liquidity there. Now it tells you based on how much you have in there, and I have a lot invested in this, that I put half initially, then once I felt like it was solid, I put the rest of my Wanchain that I was holding in here. And I think I moved somewhere between 20 to 25,000. And you can see in this pool I have 71,000, so it's grown. And I've got 10,000 here, and in this one I've got 17. Now I did actually take all the equity or liquidity I had in this and I staked it into the USDC USDT pool, and I'm earning a little bit of gains there because prices might drop some more in the coming weeks, and if so, then I've got essentially some things that are pegged to the US dollar that's earning me some passive income that I'm going to roll back into this pool, because when Wanchain depreciates, Zoo and Wasp really depreciate. And that's where I did have a lot of these funds. So this is how I earn some passive income while the market's boring. And it's a lot of fun because when the market does do well, Wanchain appreciates, especially when DeFi comes back into the narrative. My guess is Wanchain will do really well. Wanchain's really cheap right now. And when Wanchain appreciates, WASP, the WASP token, which is the token for WanSwap, then that really, really appreciates. And so I'm able to get some rewards in both WASP and Zoo for staking here, and they both have value, and the rewards add up being pretty good. Like right now I'm earning 9,000 total Zoo tokens per week, plus I'm earning some WASP. And if I were to refresh this, this would tell us what Zoo tokens are presently worth. Let's see, Zoo tokens are worth 14 cents. So 9,000, I'm getting what? That's about 1,300 passive income per week on just the Zoo tokens, plus probably a little bit, $200 or $300 in WASP tokens per week. Some really good passive income while I'm waiting for Wanchain to appreciate. In fact, let's look at TradingView. I want to look at Wanchain's price. Yes, really attractive. Like to buy when it's boring, and yeah, it's boring. Now it looks like it's still falling, and this is why I put some of mine into that other pool in case it does fall. Now I have some of this locked up long term that I get extra rewards because I locked it for a certain number. I think it's locked for 2 months where I can't remove this side out of it. That's okay. I wouldn't anyway. The rewards are really good, but this pool made sense for me to take all the liquidity, roll it into this pool, because it looks like Wanchain's going to get even more attractive if I had to guess. It maybe come down. It's hitting some resistance at this price, but I'm looking for a rounded bottom. See how these bottoms start to round before they come up? This is still falling pretty sharp with most of the rest of the market. This one I love long term. This one can hit way bigger numbers than they are. They do have some of the best cross-chain bridge technology. We'll get into that in another week. Again, I did give you a glimpse of how that worked. I'll show you in the future how you can bridge one ETH or other things over to Moonriver, which Moonriver's price is getting pretty attractive again. And Moonriver is on the Kusama network, so it's fun that from Wanchain you can bridge right to Kusama, and that they're building these layer 2 to layer 2 bridges out there. So let me check out what's going on in the chat. Wanchain price getting smacked down. It sure is, Bilal. Just like everything else, it is getting hit. Wanchain kind of falls in an interesting place in that it's mostly on the DeFi side of things. But yeah, when the market gets smacked down, Wanchain too, like everything's getting cheap. A lot of the play to earn games have been getting really cheap, and they have been getting decimated. We'll be covering Decimated actually in just a few minutes. 2 up and coming games, because when these pullback happens, number one, Zookeeper helps give me some good news every single day because I get to harvest the rewards. Because I'm human just like everyone else is here. So I was thinking, what are some of the things I use, knowing that I'm an emotional person too, that help keep me around when the market sucks and it's the hardest to be around. One thing that I do is I research. The other thing I do is I give myself good news every day, and some of that good news every day is, look, this has already earned me another 3 Zoo and 3.6 WASP since I harvested just a few minutes back. So I did want to cover some games with you. 2 up and coming games. Now, right now there's this little pullback in the market, and games have been really, really strong. Now that the whole market is pulling back, some of these launches aren't going to go straight to 50x or 100x, which is a great thing because we don't like to buy expensive, like buy high and sell low. We like to buy low and sell high. So 2 of the games coming out look really, really good, and we're seeing an evolution in the level of crypto gaming, right? So Axie Infinity launched about 3 years ago, and the graphics and stuff it's pretty low. The gameplay loop is cool if you like card play games. It's not my style, but they're getting more into the games that are my style, and one of those coming out is called Void. And it's coming very shortly. And so the best thing that could happen for all of us is that it doesn't come out and go straight to like 100x, because we like to buy cheap, not buy expensive. And so we're seeing the level of graphics and the level of gameplay that I like work. And you're seeing different experiments with how the gameplay is going to work interacting with NFTs. Some places are having NFTs that you can earn. Some places you have to buy NFTs to even play the game on markets. We're seeing all types of different experiments, and I don't know how it's all going to come together in a win. Axie Infinity, when they first started, they were actually, you could message the team and they would send you 3 Axies to get started. But even if you didn't do that, you could buy them for about 0.02 ETH, which at the time was about $10 a piece. And so it wasn't very expensive to get started. And they really built up a consistent player base, and then everything started to get more expensive as it really went parabolic and people realized how much money you could make in the play to earn side. So I don't know which of these experiments will be the most successful. We'll see how that plays out. But some of my research on what some of these really cool looking ones are, I want to share with you. And so let's see how my system handles playing this.
This is 2021. This is a world of infinite possibilities. This is the place where it all comes together. This is the revolution of NFT gaming. This is the Void.
Looks cool, doesn't it? Like, so they're using Unreal Engine 5, so everything, the graphics look great. They're still somewhat in their development phase. Their token sale is live right now, or like you can click here if you go to their site, void.games, and see exactly which launch pads it's launching on. Their token will be tradable, and that's what I'm looking forward to. You can click on it and get to their marketplace right here that you'll be able to trade their stuff and see how this works. I don't know how their gameplay is going to work. From one of the things I was reading, you can earn some NFTs in game. I like that type of style, that it's not huge front-loaded costs to be able to play. You can actually just get started playing for cheap, and that you can earn some better NFTs. And especially if you can earn some of the better NFTs through like lucky drops and whatever, and then those have value, that's going to keep players playing, because then they can sell some of those off and really have a play to earn. And I think that's the play style that'll work really well, though it hasn't all been fleshed out. This is also new. Second one I want to share with you before I get to some of your some of the chat, and then we'll get into the news, is Decimated. And I've been looking at this one. Really, really cool. Again, on Unreal Engine. I like the name Decimated, but apparently the machines have taken over in this world and decimated everything. And so, like, here, let me share this with you. Some of this gameplay is really cool. Oh, I gotta click there. Here we go. This is the kind of gameplay we're looking for, right? So, I was catching up on some of your comments while this is playing. Now, this is really long, and this is a Twitch streamer showing some of the things about the game. So, clearly we're not going to watch this for like an hour and a half. But you can check out. There we go. This is freaking cool. This is the kind of gameplay I've been looking for. And I've seen several different videos showing this gameplay where you got tracers on where the bullets are coming from. So, if somebody is shooting at you, you can turn around and look at it. This character's got a jetpack. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. This is where a video game is going, and it's exciting where it's going, because this is the kind of stuff we want to play, right? As to which of these projects really make it long-term, I don't know, but both of these ones look solid for the type of gameplay that I'm looking for and that I'm really excited about. So that's void.games if you want to do your own research, and Decimated is decimated.net, and then you can come to their websites, and then you can follow them on Twitter as well as join their Discords, because all the major crypto games are running Discord servers so that you can get updates there. All right, I want to jump over to your comments. I was checking them out while things were a little bit while that was playing. Let's see. Not You says, hit that like button. Yeah, we really appreciate it when you do that. Thank you, Not You, for suggesting that. You have to cancel out the chat if it's live, and then hit that like button, and then join back in. Let me see what else we got. Omi to the moon. Now, a lot of stuff related to Veve and Omi. A lot of our community are big fans of Ecomi, just like I am, and the Veve app, and they did just announce Deadpool, was my understanding. They hinted at it the other day, so maybe they formally announced it. But that's cool. Deadpool, they do have the Marvel Comics intellectual property license for some collectibles along the lines of Marvel, and they've been nailing it with some of those, and so Deadpool would be exciting. What's funny about Ecomi is their token has been really attractive, but it has been doing some interesting things lately. See, I like to buy when things are cheap, and it's been quite cheap for a while. And so, let's see if CoinGecko will work for us today. Yeah, man, boy, look at that. Woo! She's taking off. So generally, I still find them being inexpensive. Now, this was expensive when they did this, 1.4 cents, and they retraced all the way back. They did this nice rounded top here and coming back down, and so this little peak, it might settle back down from this price. Look how sharp that is. That's usually announcement driven. That's probably the Deadpool announcement. I'm a huge believer in this long term. I think this is one of the projects that's likely to be around 20 years from now. And so you all know my thoughts on Ecomi. Huge fan. The Veve app. We have made a ton of money in the audience with these Veve collectibles. In fact, one of our admins got number 42 of the Walt Disney Mickey thing. That thing's probably worth, right now, if he were to put it on the market for $100,000, it would probably sell. He's not selling at this price. Probably in the future he'll be able to get a couple $100,000 for that. I know when I first started this channel, I was covering Veve back in January and February. You could buy the Todd McFarlane Batmans right from the app, and we all did, and we bought a bunch of them, and now they're going for, they were about $80 to $100, depending on if you bought it on the app or on the resale market, and now they're going for a couple $1,000 last time I checked. And so a lot of our Veve portfolio has gone up tremendously. I know, talking to D-Money and also another friend, they've made more money from their Veve collectibles than they have from their crypto investments during the last 3-month time period. Now, we will see some things that's just kind of a bias, because generally the market was following what happened here. March, we had this huge pump, and then we did have these lows, so even Ecomi's come up from those lows, but there's a lot of things that are trading for about the same price as they did 3 months ago, especially now that we've come back down. And so it may feel like your Veve collectibles have outperformed everything, because they have, but that doesn't mean the general crypto market isn't going to go crazy ahead of us still. Let's see, only up 25%. Yes, it is. Bilal Troll says this is amazing. Paul Kirby asks, how high can Netvrk go? Let's look back at Netvrk. Higher. They do have some land sales if you're able to participate. They did them through some launch pads. I think they'll do a public sale. I think those will do really, really well. Netvrk continues to make really good partnerships, which is important to longevity. I think it'll pull back more. I think things will go crazy when we have the blow off top. So how high can this go from here? We got to really look at, we don't know what the market cap is. But if there's only 100 million total supply and the current price of this means their market cap at most is, if these numbers are correct, 343 million, and that's if all their tokens were in circulation, which I doubt they are. Yeah, this could be a multi-billion-dollar market cap. It could go 10 or 20x from here. It's just falling pretty sharply right now. I like to wait till it's a little bit more of a rounded bottom, but I definitely like buying these a lot more than buying these huge green candles. Remember, the metaverse narrative just hit really, really strong, and it's probably, the whole market is going to shift to something else. So personally, I'm waiting till it gets cheaper to buy back into Netvrk. I like the team behind this and all the partnerships that they've made. I think they're going to end up being a central place. And so I think that their token, as well as their land, is undervalued. I just think their token is going to get cheaper first before it gets more expensive. All right, let's see. DeFi ecosystem getting smacked too. It's very saddening. It is getting smacked. And, you know, this is why so many people leave. Now, you won't be able to see the video I recorded with Paul till tomorrow. One of the things I was sharing with Paul and in general the audience in that video is that, and I shared this with you before, that it's rough being in this. It's emotional. We're emotional creatures as human beings. And it is like getting smacked around because we put our hopes and faith in our portfolio. This is one of the reasons it's important that we don't use money we can't afford to lose. Because when we have these pullbacks of people that invested money they can't afford to lose, it forces them into a situation where they have to sell when things are cheap. And part of the way to be successful long-term in this is be buying when things are low and selling when they're high. And right now we're at lows. This isn't a time to be selling, but if you use money that you couldn't afford to lose, then people are panic selling out because they need that money to pay their mortgage or pay rent. And so they're forced out in these situations. Also, leverage trading is the greatest way to lose money in the middle of a bigger bull trend. This is exactly why, you know, leverage gets liquidated and it makes your portfolio go to zero, at least that part of it. Meanwhile, this is just like a temporary pullback that happens even in the middle of a bull run. This happened in July as well. Now, prices now are higher than they were on most things in July. You can look at that, but they aren't as high as they were just 4 and 6 weeks ago. But that will recover, and it might be as much as a month and a half of pain from here. Let's see, what else we got? Omi is definitely climbing up with the announcement that the collectibles is from Doctor of Stuff. He is our business manager. Climbing with the announcement that the collectibles are being transferred over to the ETH blockchain via Immutable X. Thank you. So, looks like that announcement finally came through, that you will be able to move those over. That's fantastic news, and that's what's driving the climb. We've known that that's been coming for a while, and we've been stocking up. Now, it might come right back down. I don't know. There's general market weakness. Overall, I think Ecomi is vastly underpriced. They didn't get hit with the whole metaverse pump that they should have because they will have the Veve verse. They've very much been working on it for 2 years. They just don't make a lot of announcements related to it because they like to underpromise and overdeliver. For the most part, they're successful on that. I want to get to Bob the Builder. Thank you for your super chat. Let me read it out. I would love to know what are the chances Freeway token would hit $1 because it seems really high from where it's at right now. Love your takes on crypto. Well, thanks for the super chat, Bob. It's a long ways from where we're at right now. Right now it's trading, last I checked, about a penny, 1.2 cents. It actually went up when everything else was, it came down and then it went up while everything was going down. It's trading right about a penny now. So it has to do with the reason Celsius pumped so much. Now Celsius went from like 3 cents to $7. So that's a 200x, right? And so from a penny, we're about 100x away from $1. How could it go to that? And it has to do with its use case driving its function. So it doesn't really matter to people when they need to buy Freeway token for its use case what the price is. So say when people really get a hang of what their supercharger are doing and they're like, oh my gosh, I want to put a whole bunch of my stable coins into the supercharger for that juicy return. Well, they're going to look at Freeway token and they don't care what the price of Freeway token is. They need a certain amount. And say they want to put $1 million worth of stable coins into the supercharger. They're like, okay, I need to hold 200,000 worth of Freeway token. In fact, let me buy a little bit extra because the price could fluctuate on Freeway token. So I'm going to buy 230,000 worth of Freeway token. So they buy 230,000. They don't care. They're not looking at Freeway tokens saying if it's cheap right now or if it's expensive. They're literally just buying it for the use case. So this is what drove Celsius's token to appreciate really well. Was that people need to hold a certain amount of Celsius token in order to unlock higher returns on their Bitcoin or other things that they were holding for just for the long term, as well as getting some interest returns on them. And so it gave the Celsius token a really good use case, and that pumped Celsius first from 3 cents up to like 12 cents and then to like 65 cents, and then it retraced to about 38 cents, and then it ran all the way up to about $7, peaking out I think December of last year. And so its use case drove its function. And Freeway Token has a strong use case for its token. And it'll build steam as DeFi comes back in and people are looking at passive gains on their money. I think Freeway Token will come into the narrative and people say, oh my gosh. And then Freeway Token can go up very sharply as people realize the use case. Let me show you what Celsius's token did. I know because I didn't take the time to go buy it when it was 3 cents, even though I realized how huge it was going to be. Man, don't sleep on things when they're cheap because they will not stay cheap for forever. So it was about 3 cents. I listened to Alex Mashinsky come on. Here we go. He was talking about it, and I was like, man, this is going to be huge. So this is January of 2019. I slept on it till it hit about 60 cents. And then this chart doesn't really show it well, but it hit about 65 cents and then retraced to about 38 cents. This doesn't show it going up to 65 cents, but it did. And so I bought in some at like 40-something cents and then some more about 38 cents. And I was able to take this ride up, which was a very nice ride. But it would have been a lot better ride if I had bought it here for 3 cents and rode it all the way up to 200x. Does that make sense? As it stands, I still made like over 10x on it. But if you had the choice between 100x and 10x, what would you take? So I just slept on it. I mean, they were building it, it was coming together. Even when their platform launched, I was like, oh, that's really good. Oh, I really should buy some of that. And I just kept not buying it until all of a sudden it hit 65 cents. And I was like, crap. Well, let me buy it on a retrace. So I did and caught some of that nice ride. Now, Freeway Token, it's a risk like everything. You don't know if their vision's going to end up working out. They are. I know lots of people that have money locked up in it. I don't yet. I will. I will have a lot when I'm taking profits out into stablecoins, putting them on the side. This is my favorite use case for that I'm going to be putting large amount of assets, and I'll be very transparent with you. I'll show you my account when I move it over, and I have some friends that have already moved some over. I know some of the audience has moved funds over, and they're getting those juicy, roughly on the stable coins, it's about 3% a month returns, which is awesome. I'm just looking to take this next ride up on my high-risk altcoins, hoping it plays out in line with what my thesis is. And then I will be moving over to Freeway Token, probably to Anchor Protocol on the Luna blockchain, as well as some other things, trying to maximize my returns on stablecoins because inflation is terrible. So I'm trying to get as high a return on those stablecoins as possible while I wait for the crypto market to eventually correct, which is what happens after a blow off top, and then I can buy a lot more crypto for cheap. So, Bob, I hope that answers your question. Yeah, I think it can do great numbers from here. Its high so far has been like 2.5 cents. Elio Trades covered it right around here. No, right around here, and it pumped all the way up to 2.5 cents and then retraced. It recently went up to over 2 cents again and then retraced. This is once they launched in the U.S. and people were starting to use it in the U.S. and sent funds over. It pumped, and then like the rest of the market, it's since retraced. All right, let me see what else we got in here. We're 43 minutes in. Yeah, the Deadpool NFTs look so awesome. Hopefully you were able to catch, Dr. of Steph joined us. Like, his knowledge level is incredible in the NFT space. And he spent the whole time talking about Veve. And it's hard not to because Veve has so much going on all the time. This is why there's so many dedicated channels that pretty much just cover Ecomi/Veve all the time because they do, like, they are full on in their stride, releasing some amazing intellectual property, like some amazing great relationships. They have Marvel, they have Disney, they have some of DC Comics, they have like amazing partnerships to be making this stuff. So, and then they're going to have their Veveverse coming out later. Like they have announcements that happen every single week, and so it was great to have him on and sharing with you his knowledge because I can only keep my eyes a little bit on what's going on in that because I'm looking at the general market like this. And so it's nice to have a specialist that he's really passionate about that side and has done amazing in that side. Come on and share it with you. Let's see what else we got in the chat. Todd Lynch says Intersola. Now, I haven't looked at my Solana ecosystem ones in a little bit. In fact, the place I love to look the best is Nomics. So defaults right to Solbank. That's one of my. Boy, Solbank, what is it doing up there? That's good news. Wow. I think it's because their app's about to launch, but Okay, that puts it in perspective, but still at 3 cents. I expected like it would be crushed everything else. So it's not as high as like 15 cents. And see, this is what a rounded bottom looks like. And this is what we look for, nice rounded bottoms, because when they're falling steep like this, chances are you're not buying near the bottom. When we have these nice rounded bottoms like that, it gives us an indication of when something is near the bottom. And so SolBank is modeling that for us perfectly. So you want me to look at Intersola. Intersola is a launchpad, Solana ecosystem launchpad that I have been following closely, and I own a lot of it because I believe in it. Now, it's not the biggest launchpad on Solana. There have been bigger ones that have come out, but I feel like it's priced very well for it, and they're getting some good launches. They did get this Soul Chicks launch, and they've gotten some other good launches on it. So, wow, that's really low right now. Attractive. See this kind of flattening bottom? Now, this doesn't mean it's the very, very bottom. I think we probably still have some pain ahead of us, but this price is very, very cheap. It was way up here. Now, we started talking about on the channel when it was here. And then it did this, and I took some profits out. Unfortunately, I only took about 20% of my holdings out, which was some great returns. It's fantastic, but this is exactly why we take profits when it goes crazy, because you never know. And so we've had this nice pullback. Look at this nice flattening bottom. But it just got even cheaper now as the whole market's been down. So it's at 10 cents. Really, really cheap. The market cap on that, I don't know that Nomics shows us the market cap. Yeah, we don't have what the market cap is on it. I forget what the token supply on this is, but this market cap is really, really low. Let's see. Oh, shoot. Sorry. I've not been sharing my screen. I apologize, guys, gentlemen. Thank you for that. Yeah. All right. This is why an amazing producer makes a big difference. Yes, because they catch these things right away. So this was the Intersola chart that I was looking at, and we ran all the way up to, actually topped out at over $1.70. And we covered it back here when it was about 6 cents. So let me just go over that again. So that whole part I shared with you on Freeway Token, you couldn't see the chart on that either, right? So let me just backtrack to that real quick. Freeway Token, Elio Trades covered it back here, and it pumped all the way up to 2.5 cents. It then came back down. Their app launched in the US, and it pumped it up to roughly just over 2 cents, like 2.4 cents, I think, at the top. And just with the broader market, it's come back down to a penny. So really attractive buy level for me. There we go. Apologize for that. Thank you for telling me in the chat. Martin L says the dump is officially over, guys. I don't know that it is, because I think a lot of the money in crypto is from the U.S. Now, it might only make up like 22 to 25%, but that's a big percentage. And if a lot of people in the U.S. decide to harvest their gains this year, because the uncertainty of what long-term capital gains might look like next year, then that's going to dump the market even bigger. And they can't rebuy until about 30 days later, depending on what category they fall in of investor. But a lot of them won't be able to rebuy the same assets till 30 days later. And so that would suggest that maybe it still stays down and might even get a little bit cheaper. I don't know. What I do when it gets cheap is I just nibble. I buy some, hoping that it comes down cheaper, and then I nibble some more. And I suspect some of these will get cheaper from here. Okay, let's see. So which token is your favorite now? I don't. Freeway Token at this price, I was just part of what I sold off. I sold off some this token I've been holding for a couple of years. I just don't see them getting the network effects it takes, and maybe I'm wrong on that. But I sold off some Nash token and for Freeway Token, and so I just bought some Freeway Token. I also just traded some of it into stable coins, in case things get a little bit cheaper, then I have more cash on hand to buy more. But I like to nibble when prices are really good and then buy some more. But for right now, I'm fully invested in the market. I don't have a lot on the side in stables because I've liked the price, and I'm pretty heavy on them because I believe in where they're going. So if it goes down more from here, and it probably will, that's okay. I'm used to that. I just take that ride. Now, I used to, when I was newer, try to time it all the time. What I would do is I'd sell the stables and I'd wait for it to go down. But a couple of times I woke up to prices being a lot higher than where they were, and I had to buy in for more. So I don't try to take that ride anymore. I used to. When I have stables on the side, like I did take a little bit to stables in case it gets cheaper, but just a very little bit. I'm pretty happy with my holdings, and I'm not making a lot of switches between things. I'm just looking for the market going, what it's going to do. I'm doing research on a lot of the stuff that I think looks really good, that I think will do amazing, and then looking for good entries on them. So like good entries on Decimated, good entries on Void. If they come out, they launch, and I'm looking for them to be tradable. We'll see what they do, and if the tokens are at really good prices, that's when I like to make good pickups. Does that make sense? All right, let's see how far we are in this. We're at 51 minutes, so we'll go a couple more minutes. If you buy stables, one pays tax on that, depending on your jurisdiction, obviously, but most jurisdictions, yes. Anytime you make a trade, that creates a taxable event in most jurisdictions, but consult with your financial advisor, your tax account, whatever jurisdiction you're in. But a lot of them, anytime you make a trade, depending on how they count cryptos, that creates a taxable event. So yes, if you swap from one token to another, that also creates a taxable event. So definitely trading to stables. So most of my trades fall into short-term capital gains laws for so then a few of them I have for longer term that would fall into that. So there's things like Cardano and other projects that I've held for a couple of years that fall into that. The Nash tokens I just sold, that falls into longer term type trades because I've held them for over a year. So about 80% of my portfolio I trade in less than a year time period. About 20% I've just been holding since crypto winter, and will keep holding that until I'm taking profits on it. Chainlink. Oh, somebody else was asked for Chainlink too. So it's been suffering in their portfolio. See, Chainlink went through this amazing hype train that took it really, really high. And what goes up does come down. Now, Chainlink performed super well during the crypto winter, but it went all the way to $50. Now, I remember buying Chainlink. I missed a lot of this ride. I remember buying it here at, where did I buy it? $4, and I sold it at like $8. I panic sold out of it. It was going up, but I don't follow the market. I don't buy when it's expensive. I sell when it's getting expensive, and I didn't know how high this parabolic run would go. So this was a quick trade for me. I bought it 4, sold at 8. I did not know it would go absolutely nuts. Now, there's some huge whales that own a huge amount of Chainlink tokens, and that's always a concern for me because at any time they have enough power, they can totally dump the market on this. Well, it did keep going up as they just made partnership after partnership, because so many things in crypto, especially DeFi, needs oracles for prices. And DeFi summer, really, starting in the whole winter, all the way through DeFi summer, it went absolutely tremendously. That March, it wasn't truly into the summer, it was March, April, May. Chainlink went crazy, and then it got savaged, went all the way down here to $15, and then it savaged again with this $18. So it's still falling. It might come down to this low here. My guess is it won't quite come down to this low, but it might. And so this is definitely not an exit point that I jump off. This would be, if I were looking to increase my blue chips, that's a great buy on Chainlink, and it might get a little bit more attractive. That would be great. it's hard to tell where the bottom usually is, and I do try to have Paul come on so he can share with you his knowledge on looking at the price and how he makes guesses based on price, but realize that it is guesses. You're trying to make educated guesses, but they're still guesses. And what's great in crypto is that as long as you're taking good risk to reward guesses, that the downside risk is lower than the upside risk, then on average, even if you're just right 50% of the time, you're going to make really good money. And so this is how investors think, because you can't pick everything right. What you're trying to do is make good risk to reward guesses. So in my opinion, if I were looking to increase my blue chip cryptos, this is a good guess. I mean, it's way down like this, and I would be buying and holding it for a longer time period, because it's proven that it can go all the way to $50. And if DeFi comes back into the narrative, Chainlink's probably going to do pretty well. All right. Luna and Polygon, what do you think about them, man? Luna has been at highs. I don't like to buy when it's high. I did send some funds over to try to buy more Luna, but there was this 5-day clearing period what I had to unstake it from because I was earning some really good returns. And so I tried to unstake it here, and by the time it got unstaked, like the price had climbed way up, and I was like, no, shoot. I do have a bunch of Luna. I have it staked, earning passive income, as well as the cool thing about Luna when you have it staked is that when they do launch a new project on the Luna blockchain, they airdrop some tokens to the stakers. So I do think their ecosystem is great. There's not a ton of projects on the Luna ecosystem, but the ones that they have are solid projects. So it's a really unique ecosystem that's really done very well. All right, so that's what I got. Bump's IDO is going live tomorrow. How are you guys playing it, Jay? I'm holding my tokens unless they pump. If they go like 10x, yeah, then I'll sell some of my tokens. But my guess is with the whole market going down, I'm just going to hold my tokens and wait, because they're really going to come into the narrative when people start using their use case. And their use case is interesting. I love it. And part of my worry about if we had this bull market, if we had this blow off top in December, was that there's no way that Bumper would be online for their use case, because Bumper will allow you to explore further upside while managing your risk very well. And I like that type of use case, because right now the way I explore further upside while managing my risk is that I sell some of my crypto, and then I cash it out, put it into stable coins, and then I sell some more and put it into stable coins. Bumper, starting with ETH, is going to allow us to explore further upside while protecting the downside, so that you don't have to follow that strategy. There's an even better one where you just purchase kind of their insurance. That way you can explore further upside while hedging your downside risk. And I'm really looking forward to them being live, not only on ETH, but hopefully they're able to make it for like even the riskier altcoins, which is what I have a lot of my stuff in. I'd love to be able to use their use case on Cardano, on many other tokens, so that especially my blue chips, but even preferably I'd love to be able to do it on some of my riskier things. I don't know if their use case will be ready during this bull run for the riskier stuff, but probably ETH and maybe Bitcoin and some other things. And as people really start using it, I think Bumper will come into narrative and its price will do really well. All right, I got to wrap this up. We're at 58.5 minutes. Jasmine Coin, I don't know anything about it. Thank you all for joining us. If you haven't already, would you like this video and share it? And D-Money, thank you for your support from home. He's helped me get this all set up. I really appreciate that, and I'm glad your family's doing well. And the audience, I thank you for tuning in. I'm really glad that you stick around even when the market's tough like this, and that you're right here. That shows me that more than likely you are the ones that are going to do really well from crypto, because it really does take tenacity to make money in crypto. Tenacity is what makes people pass Navy SEAL training. That's really the attribute, the one attribute that boils down to on who makes it to be Navy SEALs and who doesn't. It comes down to tenacity, and that's not too different from cryptocurrency. It's tenacity. Obviously, if you're making dumb plays, even if you're like tenacious, but you're buying things at the top, then that's not going to benefit you. So you still have to buy low in order to be able to sell high. But then tenacity of sticking around when times get tough and not leaving the space and just not panic selling out. Thank you all for joining me, and we will see you next time.
Came into the space chasing all of the gains, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, you buy before you're good. Was taught to buy when it was pouring like a rain, make it should. I buy when it's down, don't chase the